Daily learning.
Take a rest and self-care. There are countless moments in life when exhaustion creeps into every corner of your body and mind. And even though you might be surrounded by obligations, expectations, and responsibilities that seem endless, you need to remember that there is always a place for rest. Because even if you are tired, you can pause, breathe, and put yourself first, as the act of slowing down is not a sign of weakness, but rather an act of profound self-respect that allows you to continue moving forward with more strength and clarity. When the day stretches on endlessly and the hours feel heavy with tasks that pile up one after another, you might convince yourself that pushing harder is the only way to keep up. Yet in truth, what your body and soul often crave is not more effort, but more gentleness. Because rest is not wasted time. It is the foundation that supports everything else. And once you understand that, you can start embracing the quiet moments without guilt or shame. There is something deeply healing about allowing yourself to stop for a while, even if the world continues rushing outside your window. Because you are not designed to function like a machine that never pauses. You are human, and your humanity is expressed most beautifully when you allow yourself to honor your limits. As the weeks roll by and the seasons change, you might notice that life always gives you signals, sometimes subtle and sometimes striking, that you are carrying more than you should. And when those signals arrive in the form of fatigue, irritability, or a sense of emptiness, that is the moment when you should listen carefully. Remind yourself that it is not selfish to step back, but necessary, because by tending to your needs you create space for renewal, which eventually allows you to be more present, more compassionate, and more connected to the people and the work that matter most. It might take courage to accept that pausing is valuable, especially when society praises constant productivity. Yet once you discover the quiet joy of resting without guilt, you will realize that your worth is not measured by how much you accomplish, but by the authenticity of the life you are living. If you look back at the times when you were overwhelmed and still kept going, you may realize that the memories are blurred by exhaustion, while the moments when you slowed down are the ones that remain vivid and nourishing. And that should remind you that rest is not only about recovering strength, but also about creating space for meaning to unfold. After all, when you are always rushing, you rarely notice the details, like the soft colors of the sky at dusk, the gentle sound of leaves brushing against each other in the wind, or the warmth of a simple meal. And these details, though small, are often the very things that remind you of why life is precious. In the quiet spaces you create for yourself, when you lie down with no urgency pressing on your shoulders, or when you let yourself take a slow walk without checking the time, you are not wasting opportunities, but rather cultivating an inner sanctuary that becomes a source of resilience. Over time, you begin to see that rest is not something you earn only after exhausting yourself. It is something you deserve simply because you are alive. And because life is too short to be lived in a constant state of depletion. Once you begin to treat yourself with the same kindness you might offer to someone you love deeply, you'll start to recognize how powerful it is to put yourself first. Not in a way that excludes others, but in a way that honors the balance between giving and receiving. As mornings turn into afternoons and afternoons fade into evenings, remember that each part of the day offers you an opportunity to pause. Whether it is by taking a few mindful breaths when you wake up, closing your eyes for a moment when you feel tension rising, or allowing yourself to rest early instead of pushing into the night. When you give yourself permission to rest, you are not falling behind. You are simply aligning yourself with the natural rhythms that sustain health, creativity, and joy. It is easy to believe that constant effort will bring you closer to your goals, but the truth is that without moments of stillness, the journey loses its depth, and the achievements you seek may feel hollow when reached in a state of exhaustion. Whenever you find yourself resisting rest, thinking that there are too many things to do, or that others will be disappointed if you stop, once again, remind yourself that you cannot pour from an empty cup, and that by restoring your energy, you are ultimately giving more to the world than if you ran yourself dry. Even if people around you do not always understand your need to pause, it is still worth protecting your boundaries. Your life is not meant to be shaped entirely by the expectations of others. It is meant to be guided by your own sense of balance and well-being. The more you choose to respect your limits, the more you will notice that your interactions with others become lighter, kinder, and more genuine. There will always be deadlines, pressures, and unforeseen challenges, and you might never find a perfect moment when everything slows down on its own, which is why you must choose deliberately to carve out time for yourself, even in the middle of chaos, because waiting for the world to give you permission to rest may mean waiting forever. The beauty of putting yourself first is that it does not have to be grand or complicated. It can be as simple as stepping away for a few minutes to stretch, drinking water slowly while noticing the taste, or allowing yourself to sleep without guilt. With each of these small acts, you are teaching yourself that your needs are valid, your well-being matters, and your tired body and soul are worthy of care. As time moves forward and you reflect on the choices you have made, you will find that the moments when you allowed yourself to rest were not interruptions but turning points. They provided you with clarity, perspective, and renewed energy. It is in these pauses that creativity is reborn, that emotions settle, and that wisdom deepens. And when you carry this wisdom into the future, you realize that the most sustainable way to keep moving is to honor the cycle of effort and rest. Just like the earth honors the cycle of day and night. The sun does not shine without pause. The tides do not move without rhythm. And your body and mind, too, are built with patterns that require balance. Even when you feel guilty for stepping away, try to remember that rest is not selfish but generous, because a rested version of yourself is kinder, more patient, and more capable of offering genuine presence to others. Though it may feel difficult at first, especially when habits of overworking are deeply ingrained, over time you will notice that pausing becomes more natural, and you will no longer see it as an interruption but as a part of living well. By putting yourself first in this way, you are not neglecting your responsibilities. You are nourishing the part of you that makes it possible to fulfill them with heart and with joy. So, whenever fatigue presses down and whispers that you should keep going because stopping would mean failure, answer with the gentle truth that even if you are tired, you can rest, you can pause, you can breathe, and you can place your own well-being at the center of your life. Because in doing so, you are choosing not only survival, but also a deeper form of living that is tender, meaningful, and beautifully human.